Good morning and Happy New Year! So I thought I'd come to my allotment today on the first day of 2024. I've got some jobs to do, so I'll try and take you on a few of those. But first I'm going to give you a little walk around my plot. So obviously as it's winter everything looks rubbish. So there should be a big fuchsia bush in summer, and we've got a lovely lily there that's looking worse for wear. These are lying on the side though, so they don't collect water. All of these bins are filled with compost. At the moment these are fruit trees, are all obviously bare. There's a bag of compost in and amongst the trees ready to go on the ground. So all this path from where I'm walking to the right is all mine up until the other path at the other side. So I've got a bed of leeks, and the leeks have self-seeded everywhere. So if you look right down that path, there's some there. There's the odd onion I need to pick up, to be fair. This bed originally had sweet corn in and sprouts. Obviously there's one sprout plant left, but it did have sprouts on, but the birds have taken them. I've weeded and covered all this over, and then this part here was just the last bit to do. So this had lots of rotten wood on it, so I've cleared that last week of wood, and then I've literally got to weed this section here, which goes right to that back fence. And in this greenhouse here there's some glass missing that's been smashed in the bad weather, but I intend on getting that back to its former glory very soon. So this back bit here is the only bit that I've got to do to get it back to a point where it's not spreading weeds to other plots, and that's what I think is important at the moment, is to get it to a point where other plot holders are not complaining. Where the blue bin is there on the left, there, that's and all to the left there is someone else's plot. So mine is this section here. I'm trying to balance my hand. This section here, that path, and this fence here is a neighbouring plot, so right the way along. So just going from is actually the second plot that I took on. My first plot was originally 8 foot high with weeds, brambles mainly, and now I've worked most of it to a point where it's got compost bins. It was full of flowers last year, and I'm actually quite happy with it, to be fair. It's still got a lot of work. I've got chickens going on very soon, next year in the spring. There's all sorts. There's going to be a polytunnel, but for now it's at least workable. So one of the main things with this plot was it was absolutely, where I'm sat now, or where I'm crouched now, was 8 foot high with weeds, mainly brambles, which anyone who's had to tackle brambles will know that they will just rip your skin apart. The thorns in there, and from time to time they grow up, they creep up in my raised beds in this area and through the paths. So the best way is I have some rigger gloves, which they are a bit rough because I've been using them to creosote my new chicken coop, but as you can see there's one here, and usually if I pull it, it will pull a fair bit of the root out. It is an ongoing saga. I've just pulled another bit out. It is a bit of an ongoing saga, but eventually they do weaken. This area, like I say, was absolutely full. I dug some of the root balls out, and occasionally they do crop up, but just pull them out. If you haven't got the time or the energy or even the strength, if you're not maybe able-bodied, do your best. Just do your best. So I've just pulled these out. That's quite a long, that's been in the ground a good foot, and I've just pulled it out. I probably won't see anything now back there, if at all, for maybe a few months. So that one small action should hopefully clear this. In this bed last year I had some sweet corn, quite a lot of nasturtiums, I had a few little gem lettuces, and it's done me proud. But this year, because I've taken on my second plot, this year is going to be mainly flowers, but I do have some garlic bulbs that I'm wanting to try that I got from Asda, which were huge. So I'm going to try them in this bed, because I can plant flowers around them, and it doesn't really matter if they come up or not. I've also just sown the bed behind me full of garlic, and again I might just scatter some seeds over there, maybe some nasturtiums, some marigolds, or even just some lobelia or something, just to make it look pretty. But these beds were the first beds. I put these 4 raised beds in as the first beds on my plot, as my first planting, and the first thing I ever planted was garlic. So these are like my babies really, that I'll probably never take them up. So I've just moved the camera a little bit. The 2 garlic types that I've just planted, I mean, I am late in planting, but if you don't put it in the ground, you don't know. So it's like the first ones I planted, I didn't plant till something like February, so, and I still got a crop. So garlic does like to have a frost. It does like to have a frost, because that, when you first plant it, you're planting a clove as opposed to a full bulb. So you're planting cloves, which I'll show you in a minute. Once it starts growing, the frost is the thing that splits that clove into separate cloves, so it gives you that bulb that you pick up at the shop. So this is the one that I picked up from Asda, and it's quite substantial. So I'm going to give it a go, because I've got lots of space. I'm going to plant these in here. I'm going to split it up now, use this dibber, and just see how I get on. So I'm going to take my gloves off because it's a bit awkward to do otherwise. And as I go, if I find any stones in here, I will just literally pull them. That's why I'm using this up. So let's see. When you're planting them, you plant them with a pointy bit up. The flat bit at the bottom is where the roots come out, so plant them like that. I've made a hole with my dibber, and then I'm not going to cover them over until I've planted them all, so I can see where they've gone. And I'm not also spacing them the best. Don't judge, well, you can judge me on my spacing, I don't really care, but I'm a bit more random. I don't measure stuff out really, so when things go wrong, it's my own fault, I guess. I really should get a kneeling board, but I have got bad knees. So I am really hoping these come through, because they are really, the bulbs are was really big. So we'll soon find out in a few weeks whether they sprout. But it's worth a try, you know. It's cost me 50p just to give them a go. I'm going to stop recording now, but you get the idea. When I've done, I'm just going to cover these over and we'll see. This bed here is actually where last year I had a ridiculous amount of dahlias. The year before I'd planted them, had lots of things going on in my personal life towards the end of 2022, so I didn't come. And then when I got back into it at the beginning of this year, I started seeing all these shoots, and it turns out that my dahlias had actually survived, just being left in the ground, no mulching, no nothing. So this bed was full of dahlias. I'll try and insert a photo or a clip, and also the bed behind it was strawberries. I can't remember how many plants I planted, but all the runners have now taken off. I've not sorted them out, so I've got a ridiculous amount of strawberries in there. I have gone through and taken some out, but I do need to sort them out again. This bed here, I planted mainly broccoli. As you can see, there's varying types. There's purple sprouting, Calabrese de Chico, and there's some Romanesco around the other side. There's only one Romanesco come through, but it's tiny. There was one huge dahlia plant that did survive in here. The others I actually dragged out too early. If I'd have left them in, they'd have survived. So I have mulched that and hope it will come back next year. There's also a lot of leaves mulching the ground that have fallen off the tree. And over this archway here, I actually grew several squashes. I had Uchikikuri, Tromboncino, and Turk's Turban, and I also had some runner beans going over there. I had Scarlet Emperor and Enorma, both climbing over there, and it was really pretty. Next year, I'm not sure whether I'm going to do the same thing. I think maybe the runner beans, but I might either go for peas or climbing French beans, because I do like them, or I might just do a sweet peas. I really like sweet peas, and I think they'd be beautiful going over this in like a flowering archway, because this plot is going to be my flowering plot next year, and my vegetables are all going on to my other plot. So I think I've had about enough today at the plot. I haven't done what I planned on doing, which was weeding my second plot 30. I've spent most of the day planting bulbs, attempting to plant bulbs and fail, and also planting garlic, but those are jobs that I've absolutely been waiting for ages to do, and I've avoided because it meant sort of kneeling down on the floor or crouching down, and I have got bad knees and it is cold. But new year, new start, and it's done. I've had a little chat to someone else on a different plot about their poddy tunnel, because that's something I'm planning on getting soon, and I've been and had a look at theirs, and I'm really happy with the size, because it's the same size as the one I want. So I think it's maybe about 3:30 now. It's not necessarily getting dark, but it's cold, and I have been here a couple of hours, 3 hours. I think that's probably enough. It's amazing how the time goes and you feel like you've done nothing, but actually I needed to go through the process of trying to plant the bulbs where I planned. I needed to go through that process, fail, in order to get to planting them in the pots. So I'm hopefully going to have 3 gorgeous some spring bulb pots coming through. So now I need to have a think on what I'm going to do under the arches, because the arches themselves. So happy new year again to everyone. Hope this year is a successful one in your allotment, and the main thing is, if you don't do what you plan to do in a day or even in a week or a month, don't kick yourself for it. We've all got lives outside of our plots. The main thing is to enjoy. Take care. Bye.